The sound of the heavy bucket wheels squeaking against the marble floor echoed through the empty lobby. Thomas, a 60-year-old janitor with a curved spine and rough hands, pushed the mop with a slow, rhythmic motion. It was 9 p.m., and the bustling corporate tower was finally quiet. For 20 years, Thomas had been the ghost of this building. Executives in expensive suits walked past him every day without even a nod. To them, he was just a part of the furniture, a tool to clean up their spilled coffee. But Thomas didn't mind the invisibility. It was easier to hide his pain that way. He paused to wipe sweat from his forehead, his back aching with a sharp, familiar throb. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a letter that he had read 100 times that day. It was a final notice from the bank. They were going to take his small house, the house where he and his late wife had raised their dreams. His wife, Martha, had passed away 6 months ago after a long battle with cancer. The medical bills had eaten everything: his savings, his retirement, and now his home. Thomas folded the letter and sighed, a sound that carried the weight of the world. He looked across the massive lobby to the centerpiece of the room. There, bathed in the soft light of the chandelier, stood a magnificent Steinway Grand Piano. It was there for decoration, a symbol of the company's wealth. Nobody ever played it. Thomas stared at the black and white keys, his fingers twitching slightly at his sides. Before he was a janitor, before the hard times, Thomas had been a musician. He had taught music to children, filling their lives with melody. But arthritis and the need for a steady paycheck had forced him to put down his passion. Tonight, the silence of the building felt heavy, almost suffocating. He looked around. The security guard was on his break outside. The reception desk was empty. Thomas felt a pull he couldn't resist, a magnetic force dragging him toward the instrument. He parked his mop bucket near a pillar and walked slowly toward the piano. He felt like an intruder, a peasant approaching a throne. He sat down on the velvet bench, the cushion soft beneath him. He placed his calloused, chemical-stained hands on the pristine ivory keys. He hesitated. What if he had forgotten how? He pressed a single key. Middle C. The note rang out, pure and clear, resonating in the high ceilings. It was the most beautiful sound he had heard in months. Thomas closed his eyes and let his muscle memory take over. He didn't play a simple song. He played a complex, sorrowful piece by Beethoven. His fingers, usually stiff from gripping a mop, flew across the keys with a fluid grace. The music poured out of him, carrying all his grief, his fear, and his loneliness. He played for Martha. He played for the house he was losing. He played for the dignity he had lost somewhere between the second and third floor. Tears streamed down his face, dropping onto his uniform, but he didn't stop. He was lost in the music, transported to a world where he wasn't just a janitor. He didn't hear the elevator doors slide open behind him. He didn't see the man step out. It was Mr. Sterling, the CEO of the company. Mr. Sterling was known as a ruthless businessman, a man with a heart of stone. He had stayed late to finish a merger deal and was exhausted. He stopped in his tracks, stunned by the music filling his lobby. He expected to see a hired professional, perhaps a guest. Instead, he saw the back of a blue uniform. He saw the mop bucket standing lonely by the pillar. Mr. Sterling walked silently across the marble floor, his expensive shoes making no sound. He stood 10 feet away, watching the janitor play with a passion that rivaled the greatest concert pianists. Mr. Sterling had paid thousands for tickets to the opera, but this was raw. Thomas hit the final chord, letting the notes hang in the air until they faded into silence. He sat there for a moment, head bowed, breathing heavily. Then he heard a slow clap, clap dot 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 dot. Thomas jumped up, knocking over the piano bench with a loud clatter. He spun around, his eyes wide with terror. He saw the CEO standing there. I'm so sorry, sir." Thomas stammered, backing away. I didn't mean to touch it. I was just ... I'll get back to work. Thomas grabbed his mop, his hands shaking violently. He was sure he was fired. He would lose the job, and then he would definitely lose the house. "Wait," Mr. Sterling commanded, his voice echoing. Thomas froze, gripping the mop handle like a lifeline. "Please, sir, don't fire me. I need this job," Thomas begged. Mr. Sterling walked closer, his face unreadable. He looked at Thomas's hands, then at his eyes. "How long have you worked here?" Mr. Sterling asked. 20 years, sir," Thomas whispered. Mr. Sterling shook his head in disbelief. 20 years, and I never knew we had a maestro cleaning the floors. That was Beethoven's Sonata Pathetique, wasn't it? Thomas nodded. "Yes, sir. It was my wife's favorite." Mr. Sterling's expression softened, the stone heart cracking just a little. "Why are you cleaning floors with hands like that?" "Life happens, sir. Medical bills." "My wife got sick," Thomas admitted, looking down. Mr. Sterling looked at the mop, then at the piano. "You are not cleaning floors anymore, Thomas." Thomas felt his stomach drop. I understand. I'll leave my badge at the desk." "No," Mr. Sterling said firmly. "I mean, you are too talented to be pushing a mop. Next week is the company's annual charity gala. Wealthy investors from all over the world will be there. I want you to play for them." Thomas looked up, shocked. "Me? But I'm just the janitor." "Not anymore," Mr. Sterling smiled. "And Thomas, for the gala, we will pay you $10,000. Thomas dropped the mop. It hit the floor with a loud clang. $10,000? That would save his house. He fell to his knees, sobbing in gratitude. Mr. Sterling walked over and placed a hand on Thomas's shoulder. "Get up, Thomas. Save your hands for the music." That night, Thomas walked home without the weight on his back. He wasn't invisible anymore. He was a musician again. And the melody of the mop had turned into a symphony of hope.